So I'm not one to idolize like any specific artist or what have you, but I do respect a lot of their work. And I want to talk to you about a specific singer and performer who has helped craft the landscape of music and entertainment in the music world for generations. He's the most famous person in the world. Well, he was, still is actually, even though he's not here anymore. Anyway, I just thought I'd make a little video about this. So what if I told you that the DNA of Billie Jean it's embedded deep in your favorite K-pop bangers, right? From everything from the rhythm structure to performance swagger, the King of Pop shaped Western music, as well as laying a future for global pop music. I want you to be patient with me and stick around and have a listen, because I want to break down the song Billie Jean and the structure of that, and show you how modern K-pop kind of like borrowed, leveled up, and ran with that structure. When you think about the intro, right, and the whole setup of the groove of Billie Jean, we start with that iconic bass line, right? There's no vocals for like 8 bars, and then it's immediately sets the mood, the tone, the rhythm, and the whole swagger of the song without speaking, right? It's like the song starts off and it's instant aura. I feel like in K-pop, a lot of the intros kind of follow this kind of tactic. You know, they build a rhythm-heavy foundation, and this is before the vocals the hit, and it anchors the entire track instantly. You see, he sings the first verse with almost like a conversational groove, and then in the pre-chorus he builds tension. The chorus drops in with a whole new melody. This trifecta, it has the verse, the building of attention, pre-chorus, and then the explosive hook. That is the standard for K-pop productions. It's not like we don't see it present in Western pop. Billie Jean was one of the most iconic songs of all time, and K-pop is spreading over and taking over such incredible music and artists. We're going to move forward to the bridge of Billie Jean, right? Where it's just like, you know, the guitar, it's got that jazzy edge, right? K-pop seems to love bridges that shifts tone, shifts the key, or shifts the arrangement before dropping into like the final hook. And sometimes that the bridge is used as a dance break. And like in Billie Jean, Michael used that bridge as like the iconic moment for like just a cool dance breakdown that is remembered around the world. I think I want to go a little bit into what Billie Jean teaches K-pop structure. Michael doesn't just drop so many elements all at once. Each layer has its purpose, right? You know, K-pop producers, they learned this. You don't flood the mix. You introduce layers, percussion, synths, vocal doubles, and the song evolves, and it keeps a clarity and punch, and it keeps it interesting, right? In Billie Jean, like you'll hear the second verse, even though it's mirroring the first verse, it has extra elements added into it that gives it much more emotion and depth. And then the pre-chorus is used as an emotional lever, just slightly changes the mood, and the energy shifts. Michael uses energy to like lean forward, right? And it just resets the energy just a little bit before the hook hits. And then the hook hits and it's like, bam, you know what I mean? Just hits you in the face and you get the feels. I'm gonna go back to the verse, because the verses are kind of about setting the groove, right? The chorus is about full body expression. And Michael Jackson taught us like staging and movement through progression. K-pop multiplies that, and you know, it matches the choreography with structural drops. They'll create a whole group choreography based off of where the structure is of the song. When it comes to like showmanship and like some of the visual elements, Michael Jackson's music always joined hands with visuals. He took that DNA of the performance and then turned it up to 11. And then K-pop learned from that, and they just try to keep matching that energy, you know, with tightly choreographed, high production visuals and choreography, memorable stylistic fashions, right? I know I'm kind of going all over the place here. Just let's go into the bass line, right? Billie Jean's bass line is super funky. It's really tight. A lot of K-pop producers, they inject that funk influence into a lot of their modern tracks, right? Listen to BTS's Dynamite, right? That's like a perfect example of like, it's like they completely took the blueprint for Billie Jean and fused it into a modern feel to create Dynamite. That's part of like MJ's legacy. Even in the visuals and the videos, they do a lot of Michael Jackson style movements, right? Dynamite just blew up. It's got that same kind of feeling and familiarity. Let's talk a little bit about the percussion and the drums. MJ's production like leaned a lot into like really strong drums, right? When it starts, you hear that kick and snare with that little hat, you know, like as soon as it starts, like you instantly know what song this is. Something so simple became so iconic because of the sound of the percussion that he used, the sound of the drums that he used. And K-pop, they have staples like a trap hat, syncopated snares, gated claps. You know, it's kind of like a digital modern echo of what MJ was doing in creating memorable drum sounds. MJ's snares will always hit hard. There's another thing. Billie Jean repeats the hook very strategically, not too much, but just enough to kind of hold on to you, right? K-pop, it applies this with also some ad-libbed refrains and earworm lines, you know, like hit you with that they layer vocals, echoes, and the whole thing is about making the song stick in your head without creating a headache, right? This is one of the core elements of like a really strong song that like stays with you, right? What I'm gonna do, I'm going to try to K-pop Billie Jean a bit, you know? This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, to like create K-pop versions of like modern songs. And Billie Jean is like a great song to really take in K-pop. Think about how the bass line chunk from Billie Jean comes in. Now I want you to contrast that with typical K-pop or a K-fusion build, right? Michael Jackson set a stage for modern pop music, right? He was always the innovator, and we've never had anybody like that. So many songs are influenced by that legacy that he left. If you study Billie Jean's structure, you learn some craftsmanship, right? And when you apply it to K-pop, you learn how to blend clarity. You learn how to blend clarity, choreography, and a really good sonic polish to your music. Now, if you want to produce K-pop or video game style music like I do, maybe not so much applying to video games, but especially if you want to produce K-pop, think rhythm first, hook savvy, movement aware. Like this is kind of like how Michael's teaching was, you know. When you repackage it for today's music, you got to think about when you're making a K-pop song, the groove's got to be there, you know. It's got to have a good feel. It's got to have that rhythm. So because there are very few K-pop songs that don't have a really strong choreography, and you want to be able to lean into that. You want that when the group has a song, they can feel the music when they're dancing, and the choreographers have like something really strong to build with, right? So then when you're producing, you'll hear those structural fingerprints from, you know, back in the 80s to today. When you're making music, you'll level up from beat maker to a musical architect. Hopefully, as a musician who loves the art, that's one of your goals, to create something sonically beautiful, engaging. Anyway, when you're listening to K-pop, if you're whether you're a listener or a producer or whatever, everybody loves good music, right? So when your favorite K-pop track comes on and it's got that, you know, that choreography, that rhythm, and that aura just kind of pouring into you, part of that structural craft that was from the foundation of MJ's timeless groove, you'll hear it in so many songs. Actually, I think that's kind of all that I really got to say about that. If you like some of these breakdowns that I'm talking about, then, you know, do the thing, hit the like, sub me, you know, I'd appreciate it. Hopefully I can come up with some more deep dives and things that are interesting to talk about or listen. I'm not super famous at all, you know. I have done a lot of like great work behind the scenes and some things in front of the scenes when I used to show my face and my being, but kind of lost my aura, trying to get it back. Until then, yeah, just stay tuned. Let's just talk about stuff, yeah?